Assalamu alaikum. My name is Asma Azai. Today my team and I are at Dr. Mehmood's house to make a short interview. Dr. Mehmood, can you tell us about your childhood in Kashmir?
I was born in Kotli, Kashmir, which is the part of Pakistani administered Kashmir. My basic education is from Kotli district. Um, I went to school, which is a state school, and after school, I went to this government college in Kotli, Kashmir for my pre-medical exams. In 1987, I did my pre-medical exams, and then I was allocated, or enrolled in medical school in Pakistan. The university which I was from is Punjab University, but my college medical school was in Rawalpindi. So I got my degree of MBBS from Rawalpindi Medical College.
Tell us, why did you choose to come to the UK?
The main reason was the socio-economic. As you know, the people living in the part of the Pakistani administered Kashmir, Kotli and Mirpur especially, they have a family settled in the UK, relatives, and same was true with myself as well. But I was mainly inspired by the health system of the UK, and that's why when I got my degree in medicine, I had a little bit of training in essential training Pakistan, but then I moved to the UK to work in the UK and live in the UK. That was the main reason of coming to the UK.
How have you found it living in the UK?
Living in the UK was a bit of struggle when I came in 1998. The main reason was the lack of guidance, because I wanted to pursue my career in medicine, and at that time when I came to the UK, there were not many people in the community who were the same profession and who will be able to help me. However, I continued working hard, and I found a lot of support from people from other parts of the world, like India and from UAE, from the local hospitals, and also consultants from the hospital. And then I joined a group of overseas medical graduates who were almost in the same boat, and they were working towards qualifying exams. At that time, my wife was a school teacher, and I had opportunity to move out of the Luton for some time and studied with other peoples in London, especially, and staying away from Luton for a couple of months. In general, life at that time was not very promising. However, once I got success in my qualifying exams, and then start working as you can say apprentice or attachment or observership in local hospitals, and I was given opportunities to work as a doctor in the hospitals wherever I worked, and then my career started. In you can say that I thought that I had to choose my career, and after a few years of hospital work in the UK, working in the NHS, I chose to become a general practitioner.
When you visit Kashmir, do you feel any difference in your community?
Yeah, I visit Kashmir regularly. I feel when I go back that I'm being treated slightly different when I go back from the UK to the Kashmir. I feel I'm much reserved when I go back to my own native town, and it could be many reasons. Maybe living in the UK is slightly different from the living in Kashmir, and also maybe I'll feel a little bit more secure and comfortable and content with my achievements in the UK. Then I was in Pakistan, Pakistani administered Kashmir. That's why I feel, and if you particularly ask me about the health system, obviously there's a lot of difference in the health system. This is working in the UK is makes you a little bit more accountable and patient-centered than working in Pakistan. But they have their own needs, their own system. Infrastructure in the UK is more stronger than infrastructure of health system in Pakistani administered Kashmir or in Pakistan itself. So there's a lot of difference. So these things make me a little bit more reserved when I go back to see my own relatives in Pakistan.
Mrs. Mehmood, you were born in the UK. Tell us about your childhood.
My father came to Glasgow in 1961, 1962, and his younger brother followed. There was quite a few younger men from the Kashmiri community who moved to Glasgow and Edinburgh to start with in the UK. And then he was here for a few years by himself. He worked, and then he brought my family with him in 1969, January. My mum and my other brother's siblings came, and then my twin brother and I were born in 1969, towards the end of 1969. And at that point, when we were growing up, we lived with different cousins and different uncles because no one really had their own house. There was a person in Watford who had his own house, and he let us stay with him for a while. And then when my dad had enough money, he bought a house with my uncle, and we lived in an extended family for a while. And then we bought our own house. We lived in Watford, and then it was closer links because I think my parents and the other people from Kashmir at that point felt a bit isolated, were homesick for their families. There were closer links, so we were always together. All the families were together on every celebration, met at weekends. So it was quite a happy childhood because we spent quite a lot of time together with other children.
You attended university. Was there any pressure?
It was very difficult at the time because at that point I was, I think, one of the first girls in our community to go to university. So there was a lot of pressure on my parents, a lot of pressure from family members and the community. And it wasn't that they didn't want me to go, but it was something new. And because we were isolated and protected, some of them felt that maybe if I went out to the wider world, something would go wrong. And I'd be like the strong Kashmiri identity I had would become more westernized. And I think that was quite frightening for some of them. But my dad, before I left, my dad did say to me, so I lived in London for 4 years while I studied. He did say to me that you are the first girl in our family to go to university. You could be the last, so think of your actions. So he did say, he made me aware of the choices that I made would affect my nieces, my cousins, and everybody around me. So, but I think, whereas my parents were concerned, because my dad was such a strong person, and he made us aware of what we were like, what was expected of us as Kashmiri Muslim children, that I was quite strong enough to go, and I didn't get into trouble, or I didn't feel that I needed to change.
As a teacher, what do you think about education achievement of Kashmiri community?
I think that as a Kashmiri community, we are still very behind other Asian communities. And for example, when I was at college, the Indian community, their parents were pharmacists. They were pharmacists. They were doing pharmacy. Their parents were doctors, dentists. They were pushed towards doing dentistry and being doctors. Whereas our parents, because they had I don't think they were educated as well as they could have been in Kashmir, so they came here and did manual labour, and therefore they didn't have the skills or aspirations, so we weren't pushed in that direction. And I think that we're catching up slightly, whereas now children are being made aware that they need to get degrees, be professional, and be pushed educationally more than they were. I think we've still got a long way to go. Especially like on Parents' Evening, more parents are attending Parents' Evening with their children. They are coming and asking what their children need to do, what they need to learn.
You are multilingual. Does this skill help you in teaching?
It helps communicate with parents. If their parents don't speak English, then I can speak to them in Urdu or Punjabi.